Hey y'all, Jedi here. We got another video coming at you with some stuff from Dragonheir. In the last two videos, we covered the Frost domain and the Fire domain. Today we're going to do the Tempest domain. So real quick, to go over my stuff for this one, I didn't build a specific team for this one, but the one I have just works for it. What I did was I built a Fire / Poison Ice team for my main. Then I built just a fire team for the ice, just a poison ice for the fire, and now for this one I'm just using a combination of my people. So this is kind of the main team I already run through the game with, so you've already seen these characters in other videos. As I've said before, these three are all going to be free to get. We got Horus the tank over here, your adventurer, using him in a fire setup for damage. You do need the damage in this one. And then I got my healer. These two, Dane and Voresh, they can both be replaced. What you'd want in their roles is at least one really strong AoE nuker, and then you can do someone who helps support and keep your team alive, or someone who can do some damage, or someone kind of like Voresh that's kind of does a combination of both. And get the round running. Remember, you can use food to make it a little easier. I'm not going to use any food for this video, just to show that it can be done without it. Just got to push up some stats.
Don't underestimate the strength of the forest.
See if we can get this set a little better. Hopefully it's not too loud back there. So the big thing with the waves, I've said this before, but the waves are more of a gear check. If you're having major issues on the waves, you're not ready to do that level yet, or you really need to like revamp your team, re-gear, things like this. The formation I use in this team was nothing specific. I use kind of a cross formation. Most of the game I run through with that formation, and then when I have issues I change it up. I didn't have any issues on the Tempest on any of the levels at all. The first time I started running Tempest, everyone was already in their 90s because I didn't need to run it before. Like I said, I only built a Fire Radiant team and a Poison Ice team, so I wasn't leveling up any of those guys, so I didn't specifically need them. But I want to show you guys how to run a dungeon for those of you who do need it, and pretty soon I'm going to start building a team for that, so I'm going to need it too. Now, what I'm going to do is we get a little closer to finishing these guys off, is I'm going to turn off my auto. I'll show you why. There's just one part where I want to get my team in sync. Once everything's in sync, it's good to go.
You shall be defeated by a country girl.
Alright, so here's the dragon. The main thing with him is taking out his minions so he doesn't heal. And that's why I turned off my characters, is I don't want them to do their first attack until the minions are out. And then they'll kind of get in sync to where they can do their ultimates on both him and the minions. So I'm going to start with Dane here, because he has a drop defense artifact. Only landed on one, that's alright. These are AoEs, nuke these guys out, clean up the last two. Now from this point on, I'll let my characters run. What should happen is they'll use their ultimates on the dragon. Then when the little dragons come out, by the end of the little dragon's countdown, they should be able to use their special. If you get the little dragons down so they're almost dead but not quite there, don't forget you got this little hand here. You can use it once a battle. It can come in clutch if you need a final like knock them out type thing so the dragon doesn't get his kill. Generally, from my experience, as long as you kill at least 3 of the dragons, for the little ones, you're good to go. When he has 1 or 2, he doesn't seem to heal too much. When he has more than 2, he starts getting big heals. So anyone on this team is replaceable. I've talked about it before. I'll just cover it while they're running the fight. Your tank, there's plenty of other options. There's the free ice one that you get that's rare. Any other tank you have can fit that role. I like Horus a lot. I use him in everything. He's just really good, so I keep him in that team. My adventurer, of course, all of you have him. Pump up the damage. He's a super good damage dealer, especially if you're free to play low spender, don't have Leggos. If you have a Lego to fill in any slots, you can drop him in. It's going to make it 10 times easier. My healer, Alexandra, free rare healer. You can keep her at 90. She'll run all the hard content for you. She just needs to stay alive, so she doesn't really need to go up to 100. These other guys, the first time I ran this boss, I had my adventure at 100, everyone else at 90, and I was still able to do it. I did have to use food when I had them set up like that, and that was with all epic gear at that time. Your attackers, you want to run attack percent gloves, attack percent chest. Your healer, HP defense, tank HP defense. All the basic stuff. This isn't the fastest run. What you could do to speed it up is keep someone like Dan on the team with the AoE nuke to help with little dragons, and then get in a really good single target nuker somewhere in there. If you're having trouble staying alive, you could turn your adventure to ice, but if you turn him to ice, then your other 2 slots will definitely need to be damage dealers, because otherwise you're not going to be able to pump out the damage to kill him quick enough. So that was the run. Pretty simple run. I've shown you guys my characters before, but if you haven't watched this video, just real quick to go over. I like this dancing gyro on the main guy here because his A1 does a lot of damage. So we just pump up attack percentages. Just kind of so you can semi-see the substats. If you need to pause and take a look for a minute, you can. You can see stats over here. The runes aren't too important. He has a crit damage rune. It doesn't even matter because he doesn't have enough crit rate to be landing it all the time. So it's just throwing something on the slot to have something on there. You know, and this guy, I use the troll heart. I think it's really good. You should be able to get the rare artifacts pretty easily. I have 1 epic artifact. It's the only epic artifact I have. I don't pull any Heliolite dice, so I haven't got very many pulls for epics and legendaries. So this is the only artifact I use. The reason why it's on Dane, as I've explained in some of the previous videos, on his skills, he pumps out his ultimate pretty quick once the boss is under half health. So with him being booked and that, usually he gets that decreased defense, especially in longer fights, going pretty good. Same thing with him. I looked for crit rate, crit damage stuff. So we did get his crit rate up slightly. He's at 47, nothing crazy, but good enough. If you do have, like, getting into the legendary gear and you have a 60% attack chest, and then you put on crit rate gloves, that's also a good idea. But for now, I'm using the attack chest, attack gloves, just to pump up our normal attacks. And this guy, the 2-piece HP resistance is on him for a little bit of survivability. It wasn't for this dungeon, it's for another area, but his build just seems to be working where I'm using him at, so I haven't changed anything up. You can always, like, pump them up defensively and then change them back to attack if you're using them. Right. Exandra, we use the Meditator's Pipe for the extra enlightenment. Doesn't make a big difference. I haven't really bumped it up that much. And then same thing, just pumping up that HP. She has a broken set because these are my only HP gloves that I got. With some that double defense roll helped out a lot. And I didn't have anything in this set to fit on the gloves that would go with her. I only had attack percent gloves in that set, and that's not any good. So, real quick video today, guys. If you have any questions, any suggestions, drop them in the comments. I appreciate your time watching. We got more videos coming up. Have a good one.